Welcome to today's Yin yoga practice. You're going to want some supports and props to assist you today. I've got a couple of blankets, 2 yoga blocks, and a bolster. If you don't have any of these items at home, you're always welcome to support with firm towels like beach towels, maybe a couple of pillows pushed into the same pillowcase or a sofa cushion, just something that's a little firm, and any kind of sturdy support that you can use to prop yourself will work instead of a block. Glad that you're here to join us. Let's get started. We're going to start our first shape in a reclining bound angle pose. I'm going to take my 2 blocks, placing one on its tall end and one on its medium height, and then taking my bolster and setting it up supported against the 2 blocks, just like a recliner. From here, I'm going to bring the soles of both feet together and let my knees fall open into a V shape. And I'm going to take my blankets and roll them so that I can tuck them up underneath my hips. This keeps the inner thigh muscles from having to work to hold my hips or my knees up so that my muscles can relax a little more completely. And I'm just going to recline back onto my bolster. Maybe tuck those shoulder blades in. Perhaps let the palms float upwards, backs of the hands resting on the floor or the mat. Or if it's more comfortable for you, perhaps you bring one hand to chest, one to belly, or even let both settle on your belly. Begin to relax into the pose. Inhaling peace and calm. Exhaling any residue of the day you need to let go of. And perhaps with your next inhale, without changing the inhale in any way, just take account of how long your inhale is. And the next time you exhale, can you allow your exhale to be 1 or 2, maybe 3 counts longer than your inhale? If your inhale is 4 counts, perhaps you let your exhale be 6. Slowing your exhale. Inviting your body to its parasympathetic nervous state. That place where it knows that it's safe to rest, to process, to reintegrate. To return to a sense of calm. And as you continue to breathe those nice, long, slow exhales, a reminder about our 3 guiding principles of our Yin yoga practice. First, we take each pose at our own appropriate depth. Often this means that as we're moving into a pose, we move slowly enough that we notice when the body first puts up a little resistance, and we pause there. Or rather than moving into our furthest range of motion in a shape, we stop the first place that we feel mild sensation in the target area. Either way, our shape might not look like it did last week or next week, or even on the opposite side. But it's our shape for tonight. Once we've taken that shape, our second principle is that we resolve to find stillness. Stillness in the body, allowing the muscles to remain still so that we can move the practice into those connective tissues, joints, ligaments, but also seeking to be still in bringing our mind to this present moment. Rather than allowing it to run into the future or to ruminate over the past. And third, we stay for time. Time under gentle stress or pressure that allows yin to do its good work in our body. So we find our shape. We choose stillness. We stay for time. Inhaling deeply and slowly. Exhaling fully. When you're ready, we'll very gently begin to make our way to a seated position. Take your time. So for our first shape tonight, and actually for the next several, we're going to be on our knees if that's accessible for you. Even if it is, you may want a little extra cushion. And so I'm going to invite you to bring your blanket, one of your blankets, with you down onto your mat. Just give yourself a little extra cushion. I'm going to show you where we're headed for this first pose, and then you can decide how to make it your own from there. I'm going to start in a tabletop position, hips over my knees, shoulders over my wrists, and then I'm going to begin to walk my hands forward so I can drop my chest toward the mat. Coming into a puppy pose or a heart melting pose, forehead can come to the mat, or if that's a little too far away, to a block. I actually prefer to put my block right here at my chest bone. Just provides a little extra support so my whole weight of my body isn't dumping into my shoulders. You might try it. You may hate it. I don't know anyone else who does it, but I think it feels better. Just walking those hands forward and dropping your chest, but keeping your hips over your knees. And remember, first place your body puts up resistance may mean that you don't drop all the way to the mat. Think about what feels right in your body tonight. And once you're there, find a little stillness. And perhaps consider right here, support my weight. You might even try it this way. Or you might try it. It's very awkward. You might just try bringing your hands up here instead of all the way to the floor and seeing how that feels. Take that long, slow exhale. When you're ready, we're going to come back up to hands and knees. And this time, take our child's pose. So big toes together, knees as wide apart as you like to give yourself plenty of room. Hips sit back toward your heels. You can always tuck a blanket between your calves and your thighs if that's helpful. And then again, head can come all the way to the mat, or you might want a bolster underneath your chest for a little to bring the floor up a little closer to you. If you do that, you may want to bring a cheek to the mat rather than bringing your forehead to the mat. Sometimes feels a little better. Check in with your breath here. Can you return to those long, slow exhales? Giving attention to the way the back of your body opens up to make space for the breath. You're welcome to stay where you are, but I'm going to offer a twist on our child's pose tonight. If you'd like to take the twist, we're going to raise our head up just enough that we can slide our right hand and thread it underneath our left, bringing our right cheek or temple to the mat or to your bolster if you're using a bolster. Just stretch along the outside of that right shoulder. If it's a little too intense, let me know. I can bring some props to adjust. Once you're here, Can you soften a bit on your next exhale? And we'll gently unwind, coming back to center. Pause for just a breath. And then you can thread that left hand underneath the right, bringing the left temple or cheek to the mat or the bolster. If it's a little too intense around that shoulder, happy to bring you a blanket to help support bringing that shoulder up a little higher. Returning to that breath. We'll gently begin to unwind and make your way back to center. Perhaps you pause here in your child's pose, but bring your hands back toward your heels, letting your shoulders relax just a moment. And when you're ready, begin to make your way back up to a seated position. Because the first half of our practice might have been, depending on how tight your shoulders are, a little more intense this evening. Our second half of our practice is going to be exceptionally chill. We're barely going to move. You're welcome to leave that blanket down on your mat if you want the extra padding, but we're going to be lying on our back for the next several poses. And so if you leave it there, just make sure you keep it smooth enough that it's not going to cause you a wrinkle that is going to become uncomfortable when you lie on it that long. You're going to want a bolster or a block nearby. I'll show you where we're headed before you lie down, and then you can head there. We're going to start in a reclining supported bridge pose. So just like an active bridge pose, we're going to lie on our back, walking our heels toward us so that you can press into your heels, lifting your hips, but we're going to slide a bolster or a block underneath the hips, supporting the sacrum, that flat bony spot right above the tailbone. Adjust it a bit so that it's right for you. You don't want it too high so that you've got an arch in the back. Too low, you won't feel supported. So adjust yourself, adjust your bolster until you feel comfortable. And because we're lying on our back, if you want those eye pillows and don't know where you've left yours, I'm happy to bring it by. As you settle in here, finding some stillness. I invite you to take a few moments and to picture the beginnings of this fall day that we had today. Perhaps you can sense, as you imagine it, the feeling of the sun warm against your skin. The rustle of the leaves as the breeze begins to blow through them. Imagine that feeling of that first hint of a cool fall breeze against your skin. Whispering against your cheek. Perhaps you look up and see that big, beautiful harvest moon that's been overhead the last couple of nights. Just beginning to rise into the sky. And you notice the first of the fall leaves letting loose of their branches, beginning to fall away. Releasing to make room for what will come. Perhaps with your next exhale, you too can feel the release of letting go as fall arrives. We're going to begin gently moving into our next shape, but our hips are going to stay elevated on this bolster. So I invite you to hug your right knee gently toward your chest, up off the floor. And then to cross that right ankle over the left thigh, coming into a figure 4 pose. You're looking for a target sensation, perhaps in the outside of that right thigh. The more you press your right knee away from your torso and out toward 90 degrees, the more intense this pose, the more that knee travels back in toward you, the less intense. So find your variation of the pose tonight. Perhaps that first place of resistance in the body. And when you're there, choose stillness. Return to your slow, deep breath. And notice where you begin to really identify sensation in this pose. Is it in that hip? You notice it more along the muscles in the leg. Perhaps you're more aware of the sensations where your body is in contact with the mat. And as we stay for time, if you notice that the sensation in that outer right hip fades, the point that you don't feel much sensation at all, perhaps you consider a conscious choice to deepen a little further into the pose. Following the body's cues here. We'll gently move that right leg, uncrossing the ankle. Maybe you reach that leg toward the ceiling or hug it into the chest. And then slowly let it settle toward the mat, coming back into that supported bridge pose. Take a moment to notice how your body feels. And then we'll gently lift that left leg, crossing left ankle over right thigh this time. Finding that point toward pressing that left knee out to 90 degrees where we begin to feel mild sensation. Pausing here. Perhaps you check in with your body. Are there places where you're holding tension that you could relax? Perhaps allowing your mat and your bolster to support you more fully. Perhaps you begin to notice how the sensations feel on this side. Without judging them, just noticing, are they similar or different from the right side? If your mind has begun to race ahead into the future, or to replay the past, can you return to this moment? Maybe returning to the sensations in the body, or returning to follow the breath. And we'll gently begin to unwind, maybe hugging that left knee in or reaching it toward the ceiling. And then letting it settle back down next to the right one onto the mat. Pausing here. From here, I'm going to invite you to hug your right knee into your chest, just gently, and then the left. And then to lift the right leg toward the ceiling and to bring the left alongside it. So we're coming into a legs up the wall or a waterfall pose. Since our hips are lifted, it's going to help us keep our legs up. Although if at any point this becomes too effortful, you're always welcome to release them. The moment will stay here in stillness in this inversion. I invite you to really find that long, slow exhale. Perhaps you imagine any heaviness in the body releasing down from the toes, rolling down the leg, and releasing into your mat bolster. When you're ready, hug one knee back into your chest and then the other. And slowly bring both feet back down to the mat. When you're ready, you can press into your feet and lift your hips and pull that bolster back out from underneath you, allowing your sacrum to settle back onto your mat. And when you feel ready, taking any shape that would be comfortable for you for final relaxation. Maybe a bolster or rolled blanket behind the knees. Perhaps stretched out long, the blanket over you. Or in a side lying child's pose if a side is more comfortable for you than on your back. Perhaps there's something that you could offer yourself that would allow you to be 10% more comfortable. What might that be? And as you settle into rest, allow your body to completely relax. Begin to deepen your breathing. Invite some small and gentle movement back into the body. Maybe rocking the head from side to side, or a little wiggle of fingers and toes. Gradually begin to stretch and move in ways that feel good in your body. Whenever you feel ready, rolling to your favorite side and allowing yourself a couple of good breaths there. Whenever you feel ready, pressing into the earth and pushing yourself back up to a seated position. Take your time. I'll meet you there. Thank you so much for joining me for your practice this evening, sharing this time with me and with one another. I invite you to close our time together with 3 deep cleansing breaths. In through the nose, audible exhale through the mouth. So exhale completely. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Let it go. May you be safe. May you be well. May you be at peace. Namaste.